Start off with Big Vic. 6s all round, 6.2 from you guys out there. I mean, he could have probably had a sleeping bag out there yesterday and it wouldn't have changed anything. Did he make a save? He didn't make a save throughout the whole game.
Shot on target, did they?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember anything that Vicario did yesterday, so a very quiet night for him.
The only thing he did was when that Frankfurt player miscontrolled the ball and it just went straight to him. And that's all he had to do. He did a couple of decent sweeping actions, but it was a comfortable day for Vic. Didn't have too much to do, and yeah, we dominated. So didn't even have to play out the back too much. Just easy day.
Yeah. Djed Spence up next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. In terms of Djed, I think that it was a good day for Djed. I thought, he controlled that right-hand side pretty well, getting up and down the pitch, using his physicality and his stamina. He was kind of non-stop running throughout the game. I would like to see more quality in the final third from him because I thought he was lacking in that aspect. But in terms of us being able to sustain the pressure down the other end of the pitch, I think he provided well for the team.
Yeah, pressing was good. I thought it was a pretty decent display from him. I felt like he was much more of a threat against Burnley when he moved over to the right than in this game. I felt like he kept moving down blind alleys and he kept having to put himself in situations where he's having to get past 2 or 3 players to retain the ball. But I actually think pressing was good, made us hard on the pitch, and defensively locked down that side most of it all. So decent performance.
Yeah. You guys have given him a 6.8, so not too far away from my prediction, just a bit above Sim's. Cristian Romero up next. 9s all round for Kuti. A monstrous captain's display from Kuti. Another goal contribution for him, an assist. He was a threat from set pieces throughout the 90 minutes. Helped us control that game from deep. He was there as an attacking option more times than not as well. His passing from deep was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I can't fault anything in this display yesterday.
Yeah, phenomenal. I thought he was pretty faultless. Not just faultless, though, but he actually did some amazing things on the ball from set pieces, got an assist, just kept Frankfurt quiet. His passing was phenomenal, dictating the game almost like a deep line playmaker from centre-back. More performances like this, please, Kuti. Proper captain's performance, and now 4 goal contributions in 4 games. So what a threat he is going forward now.
Yeah, you guys giving him an 8.5, so just below us. Just below. 8.5 for Kuti, doing him dirty a bit there.
That means a lot of people gave him 9s. Basically, half gave him 9 and half
gave him 8, yeah. Kevin Danso, 7s all round for KD, played on the left side of a back 3. And look, I thought he did fairly well. I think with Danso, what you kind of think about him is his aerial abilities. He didn't really need to show that much in this game. But I think what he did do, I think his actual on-the-ball display was a lot better in this game than previously, where he'll be playing those passes into midfield or out to Udogie. But also, I was really impressed with how he was carrying the ball into midfield a lot in this game. So not the kind of display you'd expect from Danso, but it was kind of Romero doing all the aerial duty, being the centre of the back 3, where with Danso put in a bit of a different display last night. Yeah,
I felt like he was just tasked with sweeping a lot more, just covering any time that it looked like Romero was in trouble. Danso was there just to make sure that he limited the damage. Obviously, he had some long throws. I felt like his long throws weren't as good as they usually are, a bit shorter, and I think he's capable of better. But yeah, he was there to chuck it in the box and put it in a mixer. I thought it was just a solid display, quiet, but kind of understated. It was just nice, comfortable, and facilitated the clean sheet.
Yeah, well, you guys have rated him higher than what we have. 7.6 from you guys for Kevin Danso.
Some are saying, is he the best ever backup centre-back?
Best ever? That we've had.
Best ever backup centre-back that we've had.
Yeah, I think he might be, Well, to be fair, back in the Redknapp days, we had Dawson, Gallas and King. Gallas was like our sub, or was Dawson our sub at that time? We had 3 tops.
Just comes in, barely does anything wrong. Not perfect, but he barely has a bad game, does he?
Yeah, it's true. We had Johnny Woodgate at a time as well.
Barely fit. Dyer, never really backup. Usually when he was centre-back, he was first choice. He was never really backup centre-back.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he's
20 million. It's been a good signing.
yeah, very good signing for us. Very good signing. Palhinha, right-hand side of the back three. He gets an 8 all-round from us today. I thought he was fantastic, putting in those hard challenges. And sometimes even when it looked like he had lost the ball, he won it back straight away. Really happy with his display. And, you know, even him, I thought he provided so much for us on the ball on that right-hand side. He was getting up and down as well. Such great energy levels. I just love that bite in the challenge that he has. It's just so important for us.
Yeah, and I think he was comfortable in that right centre-back role, albeit in theory it should be unfamiliar to him, but I think he accomplished himself really well. Comfortable, much more comfortable on the ball when the game's ahead of him, rather than having to turn on the ball or having midfielders behind him, having to be press resistant. I think on the ball it helps him, and off the ball he still adds what we know he's got with incredible aggression, tenacity, just getting stuck in on 7 of his 7 ground duels. He was just making sure that nothing was coming down that side, and because he's a midfielder by trade, he's got that comfortability on the ball when he's got time and space. So that was good.
Yeah. 5 out of 7 tackles won as well, like proper dominated on that side. I actually like him better in this position than I do in central midfield. I really do.
Early in the season, he stepped in at centre back at some games. Doncaster, he scored him.
Yeah.
Newcastle in the cup, he did quite well. I think there is a time and place for him midfield, but I actually think he just looks a bit more comfortable at centre back on occasion. Maybe it's a case of like in possession he should be centre back and out of possession in midfield kind of thing.
Yeah. Destiny Udogie up next. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. I thought he was fantastic. You know, I thought he completely controlled that left-hand side. I don't think we weren't troubled down either side, to be honest, but he just had that side on lock. And I felt like on the ball as well, he didn't lose the ball at all yesterday. I don't think once he lost the ball, which is unbelievable. He was getting up and down the pitch. He was winning the ball in high areas as well. And I think he put in a few decent crosses as well, which maybe we didn't make the most out of. So, yeah, Destiny, it's great to have him back and we need to keep him fit.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really nice to see him marauding down that left-hand side. You know, putting a few crosses, could have maybe done a bit better. But what I thought where he was absolutely brilliant was his tracking back in defensively, just making sure no one was getting in behind. A few occasions that Canal threatened to get in behind and he just shut it down amazingly. There were some brilliant tackles in there. Really strong show from Destiny. It's great to have him back.
Yeah, you guys have given him a 7.5, so just bang in the middle of me and Sim. Archie Gray next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I really liked Archie's performance yesterday. Very mature performance for such a young boy, and to play away in Europe in the Champions League in a pivotal game and just not to be overawed by the occasion at all and look completely at home. I thought it was fantastic for him. And look, he didn't do anything spectacular, didn't do anything special, but what he did do was just facilitate the team and being able to sustain the pressure in the opposition half. And I think his passing, you know, not too many progressive passes, but, you know, he just kept the ball ticking and kept the ball moving throughout the 90. So really good display.
Yeah, calm, composed, kept things simple. I think that's all you can ask him. He didn't really notice him too much on the pitch, but maybe that's a good thing on these occasions. So, yeah, solid display from Archie.
Next up is Pape. 7s all round for Pape. Really good to see him back. His first game since before the AFCON. And obviously he had that illness at the AFCON as well, which kept him out. Hasn't played too much football, even when he was at the AFCON. And yeah, he was full of energy, full of running, breaking the lines a bit with his, you know, runs through the centre of the park. And as well, a bit like Archie, just kept the ball ticking through that centre of the park. So a really welcome return back for Pape.
Yeah, and I think he was obviously asked for maybe being a bit more forward-thinking. I think his passing was a bit crisper in between the lines. Had a nice effort as well in the second half, forced keeper into a save from a shot from 25 yards, so that was a decent effort. And yeah, I think we've, you know, with him in this kind of form, I think he's been missed, to be honest. I actually think as well this double pivot role suits him, double pivot in a 3-4-3, because it just gives him that ability to use that running power that he's got to get back and forward, and I think it was good.
You look at it, that's where he made his name under Conte.
It is.
You know, that's where he first came into the side, and everyone's like, we can't get Pape out the side.
That game in the San Siro.
Yeah, exactly. You guys have given him a 6.9, so very close to the 7. Next up is Wilson Odobert. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. So dangerous in that first half. Had an amazing shot that rifled against the post. And he's just getting closer and closer as each game passes. He's getting better and better. You can see the confidence. He's getting so much more confident as each game passes. passes. And yeah, I'm loving him on the right-hand side. And he's filled in for Kudus so well, hasn't he? He just looks such a threat.
Yeah, and I think he's growing so much more as a goal threat as well. As you say, he's taking more shots. He's becoming more confident. He's taking more people on. He's using that space ahead of him and that speed. He's got that agility. He's fantastic. And you can see him weave in and out. And I actually think on the right it suits him because he's not a player who takes too many shots, but it looks like he's cutting in and really trusts his left foot because he's had a lot of good efforts now on his left foot, which have been very, very close to scoring. And he hit the post on this occasion. Really nice effort cutting inside. But it's almost like if he's showing defenders that you can't just show him on the outside, because obviously he's comfortable to go on the outside to the byline and get across it and create chances that way, which he obviously got an assist from against Burnley. But he's showing defenders, if you allow me inside, I can use my left foot as well, and I can also be a danger. And that's something as well in his repertoire and his armoury, which he's clearly very dangerous at, and he's growing in confidence game on game. You've got to remember still how young he is, and clearly there's so much talent there, and I can't wait to see him, when he starts reaching his peak and his very best, because I think he's going to be a great player for us.
Yeah, 7 out of his 8 dribbles was successful yesterday.
There you go.
Which shows you how dominant he was on the ball.
Can't handle him.
He's just got that explosiveness about him as well. I just love it. Like, you sometimes feel like the defender's going to catch up to him, and then he just has that extra burst.
I think the key thing for Odobert is he's always looked exciting, right? And he's always looked like he's a player who can make something happen. But now he's actually making things happen, whereas before it looked like he can make something happen.
Absolutely.
And now he is making things happen.
Absolutely. We always said, like, at the beginning of the season, like, Odobert's looking dangerous, but when it comes to crunch time, he doesn't have that end product. But he's starting to add that now for sure. You've given him a 7.8, so very happy with Wilson's performance. Next up is Xavi. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 9. I was mesmerised by some of the stuff that Xavi was doing on the pitch yesterday. So dominant. Everything that was good, that was coming from open play, was coming through him. Their defenders and their midfield just couldn't handle him. They were forced to just foul him. They were crowding him out, and he was weaving his way out. He either weaved his way out and got the pass off, or they fouled him. It was one of the two, and they just literally just couldn't handle him. The only thing missing from his game yesterday was a goal, I think. Yeah. And it was a very good display. Yeah,
fantastic. He really ran the show yesterday, yet again, in that number 10 role, kind of just floating to the left, to the right. Just they couldn't get near him. A brilliantly floated ball as well to to Romero for the first goal. And his set pieces were also pretty good, apart from the fact sometimes he took them short. I didn't understand. Whenever we put it in the box, we seem to be a threat, and then we play it short and it's not as effective.
Sometimes we played it short and whipped the cross and it was still dangerous.
Yeah, I always felt it was more dangerous when we put it direct. But I guess you've got to keep the opposition guessing, so I guess that's the idea. But I thought, really exceptional. I thought a lot more quality again with his passing. I felt against Burnley a bit more, it was a bit too careless, but that was out of his game. And he's so good at winning those free kicks in and around the box. They just forced to drag it out. I think he won 5 fouls yesterday.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show how effective. Not only is it good at getting us, first of all, I think he won the free kick, which we then ultimately scored from. So he's good at getting situations where we can actually hurt the opposition because we're good at set pieces. But he's also very good at just relieving pressure when we're in trouble. He can buy a foul like nothing else. So that's also really, really positive. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
3 out of 3 successful dribbles, 5 fouls, 1 like you mentioned, and 93% passing actually as well.
There was that one moment in the second half where he had 3 players around him and he pirouetted and he just kept it away from all of them, and found Muani as well with a pass. It was brilliant.
He just looks so at home in the Champions League. That's the thing. We need to get that in the Premier League, and then we've got a real player on our hands. 8.6 you guys have given him. And last but not least, in the starting lineup was Randal, Kolo, Muani, 7s all round. I think we predicted him to be on the bench this game, didn't we? And Solanke starting. So Frank changed it up. He puts a Muani in, which is no real surprise when Solanke's on his way back from a long injury and he played 2 games in the space of a week. It was a big ask probably to get him to start 3 games. So Muani started with all the noise around his future and everything. And I thought in the first half, he was actually a real threat. The biggest criticism I've had for Muani over the last 3 or 4 games is you just don't notice him. He's no threat. He's backing out of things, but it looked like he really wanted it in this game. Maybe, he was booed by the Frankfurt fans, and maybe that gave him a bit of a spring in his step and everything like that. I felt like he actually wanted it yesterday, and he was actually playing with a bit of intensity, and he got his goal, which is fair play, right place, right time. Had to put the ball in the back of the net, and he did. I felt towards second half he wasn't as much of a threat he was as the first, but credit where credit's due.
Yeah, apparently he because of the way things ended, they're not happy with we're not happy with him. They boo him. I think they are big fans of the other strikers they've let go, like Marmoush and Ekitike. When it comes to him, they hold something against him.
They got a fair packet for him.
They did, yeah. They got a big packet, but apparently the way he forced the move out has left a bad taste in their mouth, so they booed him. And maybe he did play the point of move, because literally within a minute he set up the goal for Xavi, and that was ultimately ruled out for offside. That was unfortunate, but you could see from the minute one he was lively, he was in the game. Some brilliant layoffs as well. I felt we were playing directly into him, and his layoffs were a lot better than they usually are, right into the path of his teammates, and set us up on good attacking moves. I felt Romero went directly to him on a few occasions, and it really paid off. And obviously a nice finish as well. It looks easier than it is. Romero puts it across, and it's slightly behind him, but he just is able to turn it home with a good finish, and on the score sheet as well, in good timing for the goal, just when we needed it. So look, good performance. Whether that changes future at the club, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. And the last player we're going to rate is Dom Solanke. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. Only gave him an 8 because, we came on and provided such a big moment for us. Sealed the game 2-0 and sent us into the last 16. And it was a top quality goal as well. Yes, it was a mistake from the Frankfurt back line, but he had so much to do, run in behind, get the ball, travel with the ball, and the top finish. We mentioned it last night, probably his best finish in a Spurs shirt so far. So I think that was pretty much the only moment that I remember him doing, but it's such a key moment and such a moment of high quality. I had to give him an 8.
Yeah, you have to say it's been great having him back. I think he's made such a difference to our attack when he's been on the pitch. And yes, he got a bit of luck, didn't he, with the way it got through to him, but he still had to take in his stride, one touch and finish into the far corner with the keeper having no chance, and that's all he asked for, and he took it so well, like a striker who hasn't been away, essentially. You wouldn't know he was off the back of a 6-month injury, the way he took that. So that was really, really great, and I think he just adds something different to our attack we haven't had all season, which is real ability to hold the ball up. And I feel like before, when we've had Richarlison and even Muani, they've tried to hold the ball up, and sometimes they do it and sometimes they don't. And I feel like Solanke's now we have Solanke, it's like he will do it. You just give him the service, he will hold that ball up, and it's so much easier to plan for that, because when you give it to like Richarlison, and it's basically
just bounces off him. Yeah,
it's not even 50-50. It's maybe like 20-80. He won't do it, and so you have to prepare for the fact that he probably won't do it. So will you make that run beyond him, or will you get in and around him when the chances are he's not going to hold that up? But when you've got Solanke there, it's almost like the players know he's going to hold it, so they get in the right position to basically to take advantage of that. And I think it just gives the attack such a different dynamic when you've got Solanke there.
Absolutely right. And looking forward to his display this weekend against Man City. I think as well, he's such a striker suited to the way we're playing right now under Thomas Frank, isn't he?
Yeah, and look, obviously, Ange wanted him to play a specific role, so I think he can fit in different ways of playing. Obviously, on the Bournemouth and Iraola, he scored loads of goals, didn't he? So I think we've got a good striker. I know last season it was very hit and miss when it came to in front of goal, but albeit he actually did end the season in decent goal scoring form before obviously the season ended. But look, I think everyone could acknowledge him last season, even in games where we weren't playing well. He just offers something very different. He obviously picked up in that injury last season as well, that kind of stopped him, maybe hitting the numbers he should have. But it's a good striker, and I think people will sleep on him a bit.
Yeah, very true. Other players that came on was Dane Scarlett and Janai Byfeld later on in the game. Didn't really see too much for them, to be fair, but great for them to get on the pitch and on such an occasion. Thomas Frank, Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. Look, he was limited with the playing staff. Obviously, he made the call to start Muani over Solanke, which proved to be the right decision, with Solanke coming on, finishing it, and Muani starting the game and opening the scoring. So credit for him for that. The way he set us up with the 3 at the back system, with the wing backs like we have been playing in recent weeks, I thought it worked to a T. we were able to dominate them for the majority of the game. And, you know, the timing of the changes and everything I thought were absolutely spot on. So can't really fault Frank for anything. And to go away to Frankfurt, finish top 4 in the Champions League group phase, above the likes of Real Madrid, PSG, Man City, you know, big European teams, you know, he's got to get a lot of credit.
Definitely, I think he managed it perfectly. I think considering all the injury problems going into this game, it was always going to be something tricky to manage. I think we did obviously have some things play into our hands. The fact Frankfurt were already out and they rested players, and you know the team, they no manager at the moment. So we had, you know, a favourable game in that sense. But also we had 12 players, and you know, if anyone gets injured or whatever, or we go down, it's going to be hard to turn that around. So I think we managed it perfectly, kept the formation 3-4-3. Great choice. The lineup was correct. Muani started over Solanke and scored. Solanke then came on and scored, so played that to perfection. I thought the timing of the Solanke sub was perfect as well, right at the right time. As soon as we got control of the game, they were looking to put it on us a tiny bit, and bam, bring Solanke on, kill the game, make it 2-0. The way we've got us playing from set pieces, even in games where we haven't been great, is something you've got to acknowledge as well. And we played very well throughout the game, dominated pretty much from start to finish, apart from a couple of moments, and it was a very dominant, comfortable display. So managed it perfectly, I think, Thomas Frank, under the circumstances.
Yeah, and that's, you know, 2 games in the space of a week in the Champions League game where we're, you know, heaping a lot of praise on Thomas Frank. We need to see this in the Premier League. We need to kind of take this form now and see what we can do in the Premier League. And actually, when you're looking at the games coming up, we might have that space against Man City. We might have that space in a few games after that. Probably not against Arsenal, but definitely against Man City and maybe against Manchester United. So I really wouldn't put it past Spurs going and winning this weekend. You know,
it's very Tottenham to win this weekend. And look, we're 3 unbeaten now.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
All right. Super chat here from